Welcome to the Prosperity Playground, the podcast where business meets energetics, strategy meets soul, and prosperity becomes inevitable. I'm your host, Anna Lozano, mom, founder, investor, mentor, and energetics in business expert. This is your weekly activation to rewire how you think and feel about wealth, success, and personal power, because it's not about working harder, it's about regulating deeper, aligning stronger, and receiving wider. You don't hustle for your future, you calibrate to your higher self. Join me weekly for high-level conversations with the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs, creators, and thought leaders. True prosperity isn't just about money. It's about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth. Welcome to the playground. Let's build your most prosperous life. Welcome back to the Prosperity Playground podcast. Today, I'm joined by Danielle Amos, known as the Mystic Millionaire Mentor, who empowers ambitious, high-performing women across various industries to unlock their full potential and achieve transformative success. As one of Bob Proctor's protégés, she blends timeless wisdom with modern strategies, guiding her clients to shift from feeling stuck and overwhelmed to confidently pursuing their dreams and manifesting their highest goals. Danielle's unique approach combines practical guidance with spiritual alignment, leading to profound changes in how her clients perceive and achieve success. She inspires them to embody abundance as their birthright and step into their true, extraordinary potential. In today's episode, we dive into the identity shift that changed everything, navigating the messy middle with truth and power, mastering the laws of the universe to quantum leap, and so much more. Enjoy this activation. Danielle Amos, welcome to the show. You are glowing. I'm feeling the post-Egypt frequency you're bringing here to the show today.
Thank you, Anna. I'm so glad to be here. And I am have the Egypt glow for sure.
Yeah, still integrating. We'll definitely jump into that. But I want to start with saying we met online years ago. I don't remember exactly how long, but I do feel our souls are connected through Bob Proctor. He was my very first mentor when I jumped into entrepreneurship, 2010. His You Were Born Rich program completely changed my life. But you had the opportunity to work one-to-one with him. You worked really closely with him. So I'd love to start there. What are some of the most biggest breakthroughs that you experienced working with Bob, your top paradigm shifting lessons that you still carry in your brand today?
What a great question. And I just put my hand on my heart because anytime that anyone likes to talk about Bob and bring him into the conversation, I can already feel his presence, coming to join us. He's such a big part, a pivotal moment in my life. And if I think back, and I just got shivers, 2015, June 2015, so almost 10 years ago, is when I said yes to his work as a client. And I remember hearing him on stage and he said, "Your way is not working. Mine is. Why not try mine?" And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because I didn't like my results. He said, "Your results never lie." And yeah, what an incredible man. So some of the lessons, back to your question, because I could go
I
into
know,
that.
I can feel it. And you know what? I have tears in my eyes because when I started studying with him, I began declaring, I need to meet Bob Proctor. I need to meet Bob Proctor. I didn't even consider working with him. I was just so far out of that mindset. But I actually manifested meeting him at the airport, flying to Las Vegas 2013.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yes, and he was flying business class, I was economy, and I decided to write him letters that the flight attendant would pass to him. And just his soul, what an incredible soul. And what happened was the program that he created with Sandy Gallagher, Thinking into Results, arrived at my doorstep, Toronto, downtown Toronto, June 2013. So when you said June 2015, I just the connection is real and he's so present. But Truly life-changing. And
Incredible.
this is the ripple that I know is part of your vision that you're looking to create. Because look at us, our lives transformed through our
Yeah.
experiences with Bob. So yeah, what were those beginning stages for you when you said yes, and what did you learn?
Yeah, well, I want to go back to point out something really important. So, Bob, he was such a giving soul. And the
Yes.
fact, like, he gifted you, that's a $10,000 program he gifted you.
The CD set arrived on my birthday. Like it was the biggest gift from him.
And he didn't know you, and he didn't
No.
have to do that. You
No.
know, it's like, but that's the kind of person he was. And he was so good at reading someone's potential. And so
Wow.
that's a gift right there, like, and something for you to really take on, Anna, because he would have felt the vibration in the notes you would have sent him. And that's what he was responding to.
Wow.
And any soul, it was almost like it was his mission. He never said this, but like any soul that had a desire for expansion, he would do whatever he could to support that expansion.
That is so
And
beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, some of the lessons I learned from him would be generosity for sure. I mean, I would never have sponsored villages in Africa, in Kenya, if it wasn't for his example and really teaching me that money is everywhere and that it must be kept in circulation. To be honest, I didn't have $25,000 laying around in a bank account US, and I did that 3 times.
Wow.
And it was because of his knowing and understanding of universal laws that I put the deposit down to give my money away to Kenya,
Yeah.
to the Unstoppable Foundation. I did that 3 times. That generosity, he taught us that the money invested in a vibration of love and appreciation comes back tenfold. And
Mm.
he taught us that we can give away money like we give away love. And just like if you think about the way that you love one of your children, right? It
Mm.
doesn't, if you love one of your children, it doesn't mean that you love the other one less. It actually, the more you love on a person or an animal, your pet, it like compounds and it builds. And the same things with money. So I learned that very early from Bob, although it made me uncomfortable. I remember shaking when I was taking my credit card form up to the front of the room to sponsor a village because it didn't make logical sense. I was putting down a deposit that was clearing my bank account and
Wow.
putting it on a Visa, and then had to commit to other payments, to make this village happen. And it didn't make sense. I had other things that I could have invested the money in, but what he taught us was absolutely true. So I would say my understanding of money was one of a very valuable lesson. The other would be, and I mean, there are so many, to be
Yeah,
honest,
of course.
but self-image. I became a nerd and like geeking out on identity because said one line, and that line was, "You'll never outperform your self-image."
Wow.
So your self-image, or the way you perceive yourself, is putting you in a box, and you'll never attract more than what you believe yourself to be. Money, opportunities, people. And so I dug, like in my time with Bob, I wanted to know everything he knew about self-image and identity. Like, how do we change it? If it's up to me, for me to create this true unlimited potential image of myself, like, how do I actually do that and embody it so I don't feel like an imposter when I'm living my day-to-day life? That was a big part of my study, my personal study with Bob.
And this leads me to my second question, which I wrote that your quote, your iconic quote, which I like to coin, is I wrote her and I became her. And every time you say that, I get chills because that lesson you've built your entire empire around.
Yeah.
So I'd love to dig into the beginning stages of that first version of you that began shifting, the real, the raw. And as you began rewriting that identity at the very beginning, and the shifts that were created in your life, that proof that was coming through in real life experiences.
Well, back then in 2015, I was in network marketing, which industry I love, and I assumed I'd go right to the top in the industry because I saw women that I respected as leaders, and I had built a successful career. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just go out and recruit people and, talk about this product. And it wasn't easy for me. I had all of these paradigms about what it meant to sell. I had no idea they existed. I had no idea that my subconscious mind was full of doubt about what people thought of me and worry about what people thought of me. And this, there's no better industry than really showing how you really think about yourself than I believe network marketing. It's like personal development, professional development wrapped up in a business. It's incredible. And 2.5 years, I struggled in that industry, struggled. And I thought the way to success was just working harder. I did everything everyone told me. I talked to several people a day. I crossed off my checklist, read every book. And the harder I worked, the more frustrated I got. And in 2015, you would have seen me angry. Again, I blamed my husband because he didn't believe in me. I blamed my friends because they didn't join me. I blamed myself, my leadership skills. I thought there must be something wrong with me. I can be a career woman, but what's wrong with me that people don't want to join me or be on my team? And it was everything outside of me that was the problem. And I wasn't a nice person to be around. And I really became this hustler for the outcome, to be honest. I was so drilled into results. And so Bob came into my life, and I started to understand that the energy in which I was taking the action, the way that I was viewing myself mattered more than the action that I was taking. And I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea that energy was a thing, attitude was a thing. And when I started taking responsibility for my life rather than blaming everything outside of me, that's when everything shifted. And within 6 months, I tripled my income. Wow. Within the company, and I started winning awards. And I went from faking confidence, like everyone on the outside world, they thought I was super confident. But if you open my mind to see what was going on inside, I was a nasty person to myself. I was super critical about the action I was taking. Nothing was ever good enough. I could have always done more. And even the people that I did attract to my team, I judged them for not working as hard as I did. It was not a nice place to be. I bit my nails because I couldn't sleep at night. Yeah, super anxious. Not good.
And sorry, just to add, this is how we were taught to build. And I started my career in network marketing too. And I feel really resonating with what you're saying, because it was always do more. If only I do more, if only they did more, if only this. And it was consistently chasing those external validations, those trips, those, lanyards with the tickets, and it was a big part of the industry. And so many of us who were leaders in the network marketing industry, we really got entangled into it. And so at that time, Bob came into your life.
Yeah. I want to say something else about that too. It was almost like the only way I was seen, or I felt this way, by the leaders was also with results.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're taught that in network marketing, work with the ones that are working.
Yes.
I was working, but it wasn't working for me because I had such a bad attitude.
100%. I remember carrying hundreds of people, right? It's like you're carrying these people on your back. And then you're like, if only 2 of them do something, but then you're still outsourcing your power to someone else. And what I learned through the industry too is, which has came into the coaching business, is you can't want success. You can't want results. You can't shake someone into radical self-responsibility. They need to want it bad enough. And so I came to the conclusion that entrepreneurship is not for everybody, where I was the leader saying hello, you working at Starbucks, please be an entrepreneur with me. And yet I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. There's a certain person that can learn. If they can't lead themselves, they have a desire to learn how to lead themselves.
And everyone has the opportunity to learn, but they need to want it. We can't make that happen for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bob came into my life like at that point. I was frustrated. I had a whole lot of debt, not even enough space on my credit cards to pay for the deposit for the program, needed to borrow cards. My husband didn't believe in it. He said, if you make this decision, you're putting us at risk financially. And I had this knowing, when you just like know that you need to do something. I mean, I felt the same way about network marketing. I couldn't explain it, but I just knew that I had to say yes. I knew I had to do this program. And so I had to get real honest with my family, with my husband, to say, I know I've invested in things in the past and I haven't finished them. Yeah, I know I've gone to conferences and said I'd come back and do all these things and I haven't done them. So, yeah, you're right not to believe me. And I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm doing this, whether you say yes or not. And so I had to really acknowledge the past and then also make a promise. And I did the program like my life depended on it.
That was
Super
a commitment.
coachable. Yeah.
There was no other option.
No other option. Sometimes I think that's the best place to be
I
honest.
love it. I know, right? That's fire under our asses. 100% when we make that level of commitment to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So I became so totally coachable. Bob said, if you do what I say, you can have anything you want. And I'm like, okay, tell me, I can be a good student. And I opened my mind. I was like, some of these things had made no sense to me. I was like such a logical thinker. And I trusted. And I allowed the application of the material of universal laws prove themselves in my life. And then once I had the experience of more prosperity, of clients coming out of the blue, and my yearly recruitment became my monthly recruitment. As I had those experiences, I was like, okay, now I get it. Now I understand. You cannot take that away from me because I applied it and then got the results.
I feel in this moment, though, a lot of people get impatient, right? It's like, show me the external results that I'm working towards, yet there's that delay, because you often talk about how our current reality is our past thoughts. And so our today thoughts are creating our future. So what was that time frame where you had to do the work, but the results weren't showing up until they finally did show up? That gap is one of the hardest places to be as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I think that gap actually widens as you become more aware. So because I was so extreme negative that
I can't imagine it. I'm sorry to cut. I can't see that version of Danielle.
I was so focused on what wasn't working. And so then I would talk about what wasn't working and see, she said no, see, and I was so
Were you
fast
saying that to Bob?
Not to Bob, because I
Okay.
wasn't coaching with him directly, but I would say it to my upline.
Yes.
See, I did what I told you. I'm prospecting all these people. Everyone's a no. See whatever. I was so focused on what wasn't working, what wasn't there. So when I simply, this is so basic, but I switched, and instead of talking about what wasn't working, I was then taught through Bob to find evidence, even the smallest piece of evidence of when it started working. And so within 3 weeks, I got a call from the company, and they asked me to train a virtual call and for my management level. And I'm like, and I had just written that I want to train for the company. And I'm like, what? My results hadn't shifted yet. So I remember calling my coach, Doug is his name, and I was like, Doug, this just came out of the blue. And he's laughing. He's like, well, this is how it works. You write it on a card and then you start to manifest it. I'm like, but how? Who told them about me? I don't have any results. And he's like, don't worry about the how. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I get to write down what I desire and get emotionally involved with it, and it just starts to show up. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, what else do I want? And so then I started playing with this idea. So results actually came fast. And he's like, then I want you to track like every little thing. So I'd get a sale for like a lipstick, like $5 commission or something. And I'd be like, $5. And so it was so easy for me to go to the other side. And it wasn't easy, but it was so
it's so simple looking back now.
Yeah. And so the results actually happened faster because I was so on the negative pole. Wow. That the simple shift of focusing my attention created huge quantum leaps for me. Now, why I said that as we become more aware, I think this like holding time or the time in between becomes more tricky is because you might be listening and be like, well, I already focus on...
I'm already positive.
Yeah, I'm already positive. And so that might be the case. So then there are different ways that the universe is going to reward your shifts, and they might not be as obvious as mine was. Like mine was a pretty like big 180, you know? Mm-hmm. So instead, then you got to go a little bit deeper because you're more aware than I was when we started. And so when I started, so your awareness may be more around you noticing what's happening in those in-between moments in your mind. And it might not be so external that you get to focus on the wins, but maybe it's like, what's happening when, you're walking through the grocery store and you see the prices of things. And if you're in Canada, you might be impacted by that for a certain reason. And you might whisper something that you heard on the news, or you might have something flash into your mind, and it's so discreet. But it's those like micro moments that you want to pay attention to and bring to your conscious awareness. And as you tweak those and you commit to change, then you're going to see the same amount of investment in your results.
See, and as you say that, I feel in my in-between moments, because, there's consistent upgrades that we're committing to, is more so the impatience. I feel like that is what creeps in for me. And also being a generator in human design and, not using all the labels, but like I've become, I don't want to say addicted, but it's part of who I am that holds this energy, that I love momentum, I love movement. And I don't have to be doing. That's something that I've shifted over the years, but it's that impatience of, hey, hello, universe, I'm doing all the things. I'm upgrading my frequency. I'm doing the work. I have the coach. I'm committed. You went to Egypt. I went to Egypt, universe. Hello. Are you recognizing me yet?
Yeah.
So impatience, and then to my children, what I would say is allow yourself to experience fully the boredom. Just allow yourself to be there. And in those moments, the blessings come through as creativity or intuition. But what do you say to me as an adult, as the mom?
Yeah, it's so true. I think there's really an understanding around the law of gender, the timing, that every seed, including a desire or a goal, when we plant it into the subconscious mind, there's a law of gender. And that means that there is time that goes from when we plant it to when it, we can harvest that seed. Mm-hmm. And to understand that we do live as spiritual beings in a physical universe in a time-space reality. Yeah. And so it has nothing to do with what you do. It's a psychological shift. Neville Goddard talks about this in Power of Awareness, and that really trusting that if it hasn't come to the fruition in the 3D world yet, that there is more calibration to be done, and trusting in the experiences that we are attracting to us, that it's part of that recalibration or that frequency change and the growth that needs to take place for the law of gender, for us to harvest, what it is that what we desire. But there's nothing wrong here, that it's really just growth and leaning back and receiving. And it might just be what you said, Anna, like maybe part of it is for me to really enjoy this middle part when there's nothing. And is there a way for me to find peace and gratitude in the void?
Yeah, the void. So I spoke a lot of the void over the last 18 months because post selling Love Powered Co. Naturally, it was what am I creating next? What is the vision? Yes, I did things. I began coaching. That was a natural thing of, hey, you grew, scaled, and sold a product-based business. Now you're going to coach women to do this. That was very the next logical step. But the vision wasn't there. And so we came to Mexico and I entered the void. Now, the most fascinating thing is I just completed the Joe Dispenza abundance course, and the void is where all possibility exists.
Totally.
But rather, we try to rush it. And I have a couple of friends in the void right now, again, if we're labeling, and one is rushing through it, the other one is just immersed in it and just savoring it up and enjoying it and being super uncomfortable, but being at peace with the discomfort. And so that's what I leaned into is how can I simply experience peace in this void? And it was 18 months, which for us humans feels like a very long time
Yeah.
until finally the vision dropped in. And so I know you're going through your own transformation. Probably about 12 months ago, we talked about co hosting a retreat together, but I was in the void. And I just, as much as I would have loved to collaborate with you, I couldn't. I knew that we would not get the quote unquote results or magnetize the right clients if I came in as a partner for you at that time. And so honoring that was really incredible. I know there's a future partnership for us as well, but you're going through shifts and changes and through another upgrade, and I'm feeling it, and your rebrand and your podcast and everything that you're putting out right now. Talk to us about the now and the identity shift that you're embodying now.
Yeah, so thank you for that. What I know for sure is that there are seasons in our life, and it's so important to honor them and to understand that others aren't necessarily in the same season that you are. So we can often compare ourselves, someone that's go, 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 with others that are, in that void and taking care of themselves. For me, I've been in a season since early 2023, mid 2023, of some real challenges. And it hasn't been easy. And I made a promise to myself that although I've taken a step back and changed the way that I'm doing things in my business and even changed my like who's around me in my business, I let go of some team members. I have slowed down to give myself the space, and we're just ramping up. So what you see now is kind of like the other side of a cocoon, if you will. I had to go inside, but I knew that I didn't want to shut down my business completely, that I would walk alongside people who were meant to see a woman run a successful business, and show up while navigating a storm, to be quite honest. And so I knew that that wasn't for every woman, but there would be a specific woman who needed to see that, who that would inspire. And that's really what's happened. So my community has become quite tight. I believe it's probably one of the best times for those that have been in the community to work with me, because we went from hundreds of people to just dozens.
Wow.
And so there's never been so much personal time from probably 2017 when I really started popping off. So it's been magical, but it's been really emotional, to be honest, Anna. Like there are moments that I haven't known how I was going to show up for my clients, because of the stuff that's been going on in the back end, and I haven't hidden it from them. I've said what I could and what I have been able to online publicly, but the divorce hasn't been easy. A year ago, I decided to leave my marriage, and I knew that it was time. I it was a desire that I had for a while. But I didn't have the courage to leave because of the impact I thought it would make on my daughter. Then I became really clear, and I don't have regrets, but I'm seeing the impact of staying on her now, to be honest. She saw me sacrifice myself and be very loyal to another person and not be loyal to myself. And that was the example I set for her. It brings up a lot of emotion because I'm seeing her make choices in her life now that reflect that back,
Right.
the decision I made. And we talk about it. And this has nothing to do with my ex-husband. This is all Danielle. This is all her as a little child learning to keep things together when things were hard in our family life. As the oldest child, this is me making sure that on the outside world things looked a certain way.
Wow.
And faking it so that you have the picture, and faking it to become such a good faker that I was faking it to myself.
Wow.
So it hasn't been easy. And I assumed that I would share my desire to leave. And I have this vision of us amicably splitting. And I still hold that vision. And the last year and a bit has gone in waves. It hasn't always been an amicable time. So I'm currently in, and I feel like I'm coming out the other end of it, but for a long time, have been in the messy middle of change.
Thank you for sharing. Like, this is your heart, your vulnerability, and also so much courage and strength to continue showing up, because there's so much shift on the planet. There's so many women that are navigating this space. And if you just checked out and said, I need this space for me, the healing, the collective healing would not have happened. And so thank you for that. I can't only imagine how hard it's been, but you continued showing up. And also the relationship with your daughter. I mean, I'm sure there's been moments that have been extremely challenging, but yet closeness has come out of it, and probably a depth of relationship that is a new layer for you both.
Yeah, and a way of communicating with each other, because she's seen me raw,
And how
and
old is she now?
she's will be 15 in October. So, and she doesn't know everything that's going on, obviously. But she's seen me crying and then having to figure out how to put on a certain like smile or like energy to show up for my clients. She's seen me where there's been a lot of uncertainty, like where we were going to live.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I knew we were selling the house, and rental properties in my hometown are very few.
Yeah.
And we were going through apartments that smelled like mold, apartments like I couldn't find, she's like, Mom, I'm not living here. Like, I didn't know. And I just kept saying, Elle, like, I don't know where we're going to live either. And this is where we use the work. We are safe in the not knowing. I promise you, we're safe. And I said, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I promise you we're going to be okay. And I would say things like that. I was coaching her as much as I was coaching myself, because I was scared out of my mind.
Wow. We are
And
safe in the not knowing. That,
yeah,
like, goosebumps. That's so powerful.
and there's no amount of, I don't think, like preparation other than like, yes, I have a tool belt of tools. Like, thank goodness I have this work. But there's no amount of money, to be honest, that makes it easier. There's no amount of like confidence in all the things, like I was still on the floor in my bed crying, not knowing if I could get out of bed. Like, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, it doesn't matter what level you're at. When big things hit, they take you out. Now, what I noticed is that the things that would take people years to get out of, it's been sometimes hours or days, you know. I've never allowed myself to sit in the victim mode for more than 24 hours. I get myself out, I use my tools, and my daughter saw that. And my community has seen someone that is resilient and continues to rise. Now, I'm calling in a new thing because for a while I resonated with Phoenix Rising. I no longer need everything to burn to the ground in order for me to rise. I'm letting go of that. At one point, I thought I'd get a tattoo of a Phoenix Rise. That no longer
That's no
resonates.
longer.
No,
Wow.
I've proven that I can rise from the ashes. That's no longer who I am.
Well, and the huge piece of this too is Danielle 2015 would not be able to handle what you just went through.
No way.
And so what are some of the tools, the tools that you leaned into daily to move through things quicker at a much faster speed than you would have in the past?
Yeah, community. So I have incredible coaches and mentors and healers around me. I had to learn how to ask for help unapologetically at any time of the day.
Wow.
It didn't matter if it was 2 a.m., but there were moments when I like questioned how much I wanted to be here. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. And so I was like, like crazy to think that that's where I was. But then I was like, no, there are women every day with those thoughts. Like, this is actually probably more normal than I think. And what would I tell them? Ask for help. You're not alone. And so I took my own medicine and I asked for help and I made sure that those people, some of them hired, some of them not hired, some of them friends, and I made a list of who I knew was in my corner. And I relied on those people, and I continue to do that. So community support. I also made a promise that I wouldn't fake it any longer. That if I wasn't in a good place, and I was about to do a webinar, yeah, I'd wipe the tears and makeup off my face so I wasn't traumatizing my audience. And I wasn't going to fake being okay. I was okay with not being okay.
And how scary was that? Because we talk about authenticity, but there's also so much bullshit and it's just words and it's just things that we say without that embodiment. But you decided and you did this. And that is, like I said, the courage right there, that resilience that you're showing simply by showing up is priceless.
Yeah, it was really scary. I mean, a lot of it was getting over myself and my ego, and not really caring what people thought. And some people would leave and some people would stay, but I had to trust the process, you know? And so then another tool with that was really allowing myself to feel the emotions, and understanding what emotions are, but not getting stuck in them, because I'm also very aware of vibration and the law of attraction and what's happening. You know, I sit in victim, I get more things to be in victim about. So understanding the difference between pushing down emotions, boycotting them, bypassing them, and actually feeling them and allowing them to move through me, and then using my tools like my mental muscles to create stories that served me, to change my perception, to give myself acknowledgement, to imagine how things are going to be different, that this season too shall pass. These are the tools that I just used this morning. I mean, and it becomes like, you become a master builder basically of your life, right? You understand that you've got these tools, a hammer for one day, a screwdriver for the next, and it depends on really what comes up, what tool I'm going to use that's best for the job.
I just really honor you for showing up and bringing this conversation to the table, because the frequency conversation, the fear could come in that, okay, I'm vibrating at a low frequency, but I do not desire to manifest more of this. So without bypassing sitting in it, but again, taking that radical responsibility and ownership and saying, okay, I'm going to feel this way for 24 hours and then we're moving on. We're
Yeah.
creating the new. This entire process is you using your tools over and over again and showing us that these tools work. And it's
Yeah.
not just Danielle 2015. This is something that life happens. We're human and things are going to happen. And so what are I see the like the end, the messy middle. Your messy middle, to be honest, I didn't witness. What I witnessed was you in your beautiful 3-day workshop and you lost your voice. And I feel like that was the ending.
Okay, can we talk about that? Like, you can't even make this up. I lost my voice days before my podcast was relaunching. Like, you cannot make that up, the
No.
significance of that. Like, are you kidding?
Are you kidding me? So what did you learn from that? Were you still trying to push through something? What was this like a make it happen scenario?
Well, it was, to be honest, it was still like I was shedding this idea of looking a certain way and posturing, right, for certain results. And I got the message in meditation, speak your truth and you'll get your voice back. I'm like, fuck's sakes. Like,
Wow.
here I am putting on this masterclass. I mean, Anna, this is recent. This is like
This was
2 months
recent.
ago, 6 weeks ago.
I love it and I love you. And it's just, I'm so grateful you're sharing this truth because it reminds us of our human. We're going to move through this. It's
Yeah,
not
and
like
we're still gonna try and like get through it from like actually doing the work. That was like my paradigm, my programming, my habitual self trying to like not actually do what I knew I had to do. And it was like,
no
no
voice
voice.
for you.
Sorry, you're claiming this big transformation, this launch of this podcast, this rebrand, this new self-image, until you actually speak the
And
next level.
that's right, embodiment. So I wanted two more things I really want to dive into. So universal laws, that's something that you speak about all the time, and there's no getting away from them. They are, and they respond to frequency. What are the key laws? I don't know how many laws there are, but the key ones that you'd
Okay.
love to bring to our awareness.
Right now, I'm obsessed with the law of opposites because I don't believe a lot of people understand it. And when we're manifesting and quantum leaping and attracting more money, better relationships into our lives, you need to know about the law of opposites because if you do not, what happens, what you'll attract into your life will throw you for a loop. And most people get, because of what's coming up in their 3D world, it will knock your socks off and cause you to slow down right before the big manifestation comes. So the law of opposites states that there's actually, in our 3D world, there's opposites. Everything has an opposite. Up, down, hot, cold, prosperity, poverty. Everything has an opposite, inside, outside. So understanding that that's true, then we need to understand that in order for you to have the thing you desire, the opposite of it must show up first.
Always?
Because always,
Always.
because you need context. How do you know what light is if you don't experience darkness? If you're always in the light, you have no idea what darkness is. And if your goal is light, when more light comes, you would never know.
And most people would quit because it's hard.
Well, yeah, you get a flash of dark. You're like, I desire light. I desire light. Now make this, I desire $1 million. I desire $1 million. If you don't get put in the dark, how do you know more money's there? Yeah. So you need to feel lack, limitation, poverty. And the more you desire, the opposite end of the stick. So if you desire a little bit more money, a little bit of darkness, a little bit more light, a little bit of darkness. $1 million, a lot.
Wow.
Like 1 million in its opposite. But here's the thing. It's the same thing. Like the stick is just the stick. Now, let's say that this stick is just light. There's no such thing as darkness, actually. There's no such thing as poverty, actually. It's a lack of light. Darkness, this end of the stick, the polarity or the opposite is a lack of light. Poverty is just a lack of prosperity. And our natural state is this. Our natural state is light. Our natural state is health. Our natural state is prosperity. But in order for you to experience it in the 3D physical world, the universe has to give you the polarity or the opposite of it to create context for you to experience. And so when you get a bill in the mail and you've been like, I've been doing all the things, or a cancellation of a client, take that as your wink from the universe. That if you hold the frequency of prosperity, that what you desire is right there, that the universe is just sending you the opposite to create the context, and then to see if you can hold the frequency when there's no evidence of what you desire. In fact, there's the evidence of the opposite, and most people can't hold the frequency.
Oof. Well, this awareness is gold in itself, but let's talk about holding the frequency. What are some ways to do this?
Yeah, well, first of all, understanding. So the understanding of that law, right? That's awareness, conscious awareness. So understanding. So really, whether you've got to put this on sticky notes all over your house, do that. Like, remember it. So the awareness is the first thing. The second thing is I talk to myself all the time. So when something happens, I'm like, okay, thank you. This has come into my life. It's coming into my life because I'm very clear on my vision and what it is I desire. So if it's $1 million, then this invoice, this cancellation of the client is part of this. And so how can I feel prosperous when the situation's here? And I'm like sitting to myself, okay, so how can I feel prosperous? Well, like, look, the sun is shining outside. That's abundance of sun. Yeah. Can that help me feel prosperity? Kind of. What about if I look around my home? Like, I've always, my environment is showing me clues. And then all of a sudden I go upstairs to my bedroom and there's a dime beside my bed. I'm like, a dime. Okay, more money. Can I be grateful for this dime? And you might look at me like I'm crazy, but here's the thing. If you can't feel prosperous, more prosperous with a dime, the universe will never give you 10,000, 10 million. So it's like more. What's the frequency of more? Can I see this as a wink from the universe? Right. And so I'm constantly like talking to myself about like being in vibrational match with these laws, being in praxis with these laws and really understanding them, and having fun with it and being the best steward of, like, the best student of it, really.
This is life. This is the work that our souls signed up for in this lifetime. Now I'm curious, what messages did you bring back from Egypt this time? Because I know it's not your first time.
Yeah, the big, I lost my voice, then went to Egypt.
Let me just add, you lost your voice, but it was a phenomenal masterclass. Like, people still got to take it.
Yeah, with like the husky, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Sexy.
so funny. Oh my goodness. So then I went to Egypt and I still wasn't that like well. And then near the end of Egypt, I ended up getting sick, like another upgrade. I needed to purge, clearly. And then I came back last week and got strep throat.
Oh, babe.
And then this like some kind of thing on my cheek, purging. Like you can't even. It's like I'm just like, okay, I surrender.
Law of opposites. You have some big fucking goals on the other side, my love, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. My big lesson was all about laws. So it's really interesting, Anna, that you brought up the laws on this call. They are written on the walls of Egypt in so many places. And I don't know if I didn't hear it the first time, but it was like so clear. Like, it was like they were highlighted with a highlighter on the walls for me. And as the people leading, they would say things. I was like, that's a law. Like, I know that law. And I was connecting the dots.
Wow.
And so it was just dropping in. And so I am more clear than ever that this universe operates by law. And that when you understand them and become consciously aware of them and do your best to walk in harmony with them, literally life becomes easy, abundant, just like it was meant to be. Light. All you are is light. And so it's like, how fast can I learn these, understand and live in harmony and teach them to my kids and our kids,
Wow. Can you give us another one? You gave us the
Sure.
law of gender, the law of opposites. What's your third law for us?
Yeah. Law of relativity. There's nothing that's big or small. It's just what we're comparing it to. So if you think of $1 million and you think that's big, then it will be harder for you to bring that into your life because it's a big deal. If you see it as small, what if $1 million, can we break that down so it actually feels smaller? And let's compare it to something that's really big. And you could do this with a number of people. You can do this with anything, any sort of number or anything. Like it could be something that's not relative, like in numbers. It could be qualitative, like this. The water is really hot. Well, compared to what?
Right.
And let's compare it to something hotter. Let's use the law of relativity to create a story that serves you so that you can create a belief that gets you the results that you desire, because you'll never get anything that you don't believe. And so this law of relativity is a way to shift your perception on your physical 3D experience, and that you can bring it more into the quantum to understand and then attract into your life more of what you desire.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything I missed before I go into my final 3 questions that you'd love to share today?
Well, I'd love to leave you with this idea that you have come here. So the people listening, the women listening, that you've come here with a purpose. And I believe that you know that. And I'd like to remind you that you've come here as a limitless soul to remember your limitlessness and to experience that in the 3D. And the more that you understand who and what you are truly as an extension of source energy with that limitless potential, the more you're walking in alignment with your truth as a capital T, and the more you'll be able to impact and live your purpose. So we go back to why you're here.
So beautiful. So my final 3 questions. One is future self. So Danielle, 20 years from today, what is she telling you today? What is she screaming at you?
That's such a good question. Oh my goodness. Okay. 20-year version. So I am 48. So that will be 68. Well, she is telling me to have like a shitload of fun. Like this year, my word is pleasure. And like Danielle, you did it. Like you prioritize pleasure and joy. And that's the whole name of the game. So well done, girl.
Oh, yes. I'll like snap to that. I love
Yeah.
that. So motherhood, you shared your heart today. Thank you. What is one truth you hope your daughter carries with her based on how you lived your life, even navigating the hard?
That she can be, do, and have anything. Name it, and it's hers.
Beautiful. And what is your definition of prosperity?
Great question. My definition of prosperity is living a hell yes life. So I get to say yes to the things that I desire, do them with whom I like, when I like, and how I like, and never question, never flinch at anything.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your heart, your vulnerability, your truth. Where can listeners find you?
The best place is Instagram. At the Danielle Amos is my handle. It's me in the DMs, and anytime it's not, you'll know because my team will sign off. And I love interacting with people on Instagram and answering questions. So come join me there.
Beautiful. Danielle, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of the Prosperity Playground podcast. If this convo sparked something in you, be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts so you never miss your weekly activation. If you enjoyed the conversation, please rate and review. Your feedback helps us reach more souls just like you who are ready to calibrate to their most prosperous life. Know someone who needs this frequency boost? Share the episode to Instagram and tag me @_Anna Lozano so we can grow our energetically aligned community together. And please remember, true prosperity is about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth today. See you on the next activation.